I was preparing my own talk for today, which is titled Spirituality and Paradox, the Paradoxical Nature of Reality. So I was actually, I was all set to start with a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, who was a wonderful self-help guru who passed away a few years ago. But I'm not going to, because in honor of Thich Nhat Hanh, I would like to do a little breathing mantra exercise with you using the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. This is like it's a centering breathing technique, which I use a lot myself just to feel grounded, calm, and centered. And I think I used this at the UU church a couple of years ago in one of my talks. So here's how we'll do it. I will say the words, but I'll ask you to do the breathing parts. So if you watch my hands, when I raise my hands, that's an invitation to you to breathe gently through your nose. When my hands are still, you pause. And when my hands fall, you breathe out gently through your mouth. While you're doing that, and I'll ask you to do it 4 times, I will be repeating the mantra from Thich Nhat Hanh. All right, so we begin. I have arrived. I am home. In the here, in the now. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate, I dwell. I just thought it was a fitting tribute to him, and it also captures the paradoxical nature of life and spirituality. Okay, so paradox is a phenomenon that happens when 2 concepts appear to be contradictory, but they aren't. Life consists of numerous paradoxes, and if we are to grow spiritually as self-masters adults, then it's imperative that we learn how to live within the creative tension of paradox. The most fundamental paradox is that I am both a physical and non-physical entity simultaneously. To be a spirit soul that is having a human experience seems contradictory for one who hasn't spiritually awakened. Let me give you some examples of everyday paradoxes in human experience. First one again, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Your parents did the best they could, and their choices wounded you. You love someone, and you know it's not healthy to keep them in your life. You're terrified to take the next step, and you know it's the right thing to do. You want to have a healthy relationship, and unresolved trauma is making it difficult. You're afraid to fail, and you believe in yourself. The more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. After all, FAIL is an acronym, F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. Edison tried over 10,000 prototypes before getting the light bulb right. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school athletics team. J.K. Rowling pitched numerous publishers before someone took a chance on her. And then Harry Potter became the global phenomenon that it has become. The more something scares you, the more you should probably do it. Now, with the exception of a life-threatening or physically harmful situation. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. The less you care about others, the less you care about yourself. Why? Because you can't give to others what you don't have within you, namely unconditional love and acceptance. The more connected we are, the more isolated we feel, particularly living in this digital era of social media. The more afraid you are of death, the less you'll be able to enjoy life. And finally, the healing paradox. What happened to me wasn't my fault. It is my responsibility to heal. All right, so those are just some examples of everyday paradox in the human experience. Now I want to comment just for a few moments on our political system, as we know it here, particularly in the United States. I think it's broken, and I think it's broken beyond repair. It's a dualistically, toxically partisan political system, and it really is broken, as I see it, beyond repair. On the one hand, liberalism creates suspicious people more than loving people. They begin and end by asking, who has the power here? Instead of, how can I serve here? For them, life is an issue to be informed about or fixed, but seldom a mystery to participate in, even in its broken state. But if liberals refuse to be part of the dysfunctionality of history, conservatives refuse to even see the dysfunctionality, particularly in their own group. They hunker down and call their evil good. The conservative response to reality is usually, what is in place already should be trusted. It must be true because that is the way it is. Neither conservatives nor liberals are willing to carry the burden of living tentatively in a passing and imperfect world. So the contemporary choice offered most of us here living in the West is between unstable correctness, the liberals, and stable illusion, conservatives. What a choice. It has little to do with real transformation in either case, because in each case, we have manufactured our own false identity. But there is a third way, and I would call it the way of wisdom, which is always distinguished from mere intelligence. It demands a transformation of consciousness and a move beyond the dualistic win-lose mindset. The ability to hold the paradoxical nature of reality liberates us from and for. True participation in paradox liberates us from our control towers and for the compelling work of peace, justice, and the integrity of creation, where there are no liberals or conservatives. Here, the paradoxes, life and death, success and failure, loyalty to what is and risk for what needs to be, do not fight with one another, but lie in an endless embrace. We need to learn how to live into the infinite mystery that holds all things together. Okay, I want to just briefly touch on the fundamental paradox in Christian theology, and this is my background, and that is what we call Paschal mystery. And I'm quoting a little section here from one of the chapters in my book. The chapter is titled Always Beginning Again, where I say the following. The paradoxical nature of it all is this. Vibrant new life and possibilities are born of death, dissolution, and dust. Just think of the one supernova explosion that occurred billions of years ago, spewing out dust, gases, and elements that would one day become our solar system and eventually the precise conditions for the evolution of life on our little planet Earth. In Christian theology, we call the term Paschal mystery to speak of such mysteries: struggle, suffering, death, violence, destruction often precede the emergence of new life. or what we might call resurrection. And therein lurks a thorny term for many Christians and non-Christians alike. What is truly meant by the concept of resurrection? Are we speaking here of resuscitation of what is clinically dead matter, some kind of spiritualized transfiguration of a person or event, or simply a transformation of some kind that leaves one changed forever? So one day I stumbled upon Paul Tillich's definition of resurrection as it pertains to the emergence of new life. And I like it. It resonates with me here, on my own spiritual quest. And this is what he says. The word resurrection has for many people the connotation of dead bodies leaving their graves or other fanciful images. But resurrection means the victory of the new state of things, the new being born out of the death of the old. Resurrection is not an event that might happen in some remote future, but it is the power of the new being to create life out of death, here and now, today and tomorrow. Where there is the new being, there is resurrection, namely the creation into eternity out of every moment of time. The old being has the mark of disintegration and death. The new being puts a new mark over the old one. Out of disintegration and death, something is born of eternal significance. That which is immersed in dissolution emerges in a new creation. Resurrection happens now, or it does not happen at all. It happens in us and around us, in soul and history, in nature, and in the universe. Okay. I don't know if any of you are aware of, or if you know Pauline Boss. She's Professor Emeritus at the University of Minnesota. And she's the psychologist who coined the term ambiguous loss and invented a new field within psychology to name the reality that every loss does not hold a promise of anything like resolution. And the book she wrote on the topic is titled Ambiguous Loss, Learning to Live with Unresolved Grief. So what are examples of ambiguous loss? A soldier missing in action, presumed dead, but his body is never found. Divorce, it's loss of a marriage that for whatever reasons ran its course and died, but your ex-spouse is still living. Illness, perhaps you end up in a wheelchair. Your body no longer allows you to do what you used to do with ease, but you're still alive. Old age, loss of youth, youthful energy, but you're still alive. Estrangement from family or a close friend, a deep loss in your life, but they're still alive. That's ambiguous loss. And this again leans into the spirituality of paradox. How do we integrate ambiguous loss and paradox into our lives in a spirit of what I would call graceful detachment? Now, Pauline Boss's latest book is titled The Myth of Closure, Ambiguous Loss in a Time of Pandemic and Change. Okay, so as spiritual beings having a human experience, we are a delicate balance between the self, writ large, and the ego mind, writ large. Self, meaning that sense of your higher God self, soul, Christ consciousness, divine consciousness, animating your entire being, however you experience that. Our ego mind is our instrument of separateness. Our self is our vehicle of unity. And this transformational paradox creates a very profound polarity between our ego mind and our self. It manifests as a creative tension in which the ego tries to preserve our separateness, while the self tries to merge into the unity of all things. So I'm going to just conclude with a poem which captures this creative tension between the self and the ego mind. And it's simply titled, "My Ego Thinks, My Self Feels." And for those of you who have worked in sessions with me, you will be familiar with this poem. My ego thinks, my self feels. It captures that transformational paradox. My ego mind thinks, the world is against me. They are against me. You are against me. Even I'm against me. My self feels, I am one. I am one with all people. I am one with you. I am one with the whole universe. My ego mind thinks, no. My self feels, yes. My ego mind thinks, I am not enough. My self feels, I am all there is. I am love. My ego mind thinks, it's all your fault. My self feels, the other person is merely a reflection of my own consciousness. My ego mind thinks, you push my buttons, so I'll avoid you. My self feels, thank you, ego, for you are a doorway to what I need to heal. My ego mind thinks, I need to find my true love. My self feels, I'll find love when I look within. My ego mind thinks, I'm all alone and separate. My self feels, we are all one. My ego mind thinks everything is good or bad, right or wrong. My self feels everything is perfect just the way it is, even when it doesn't feel good. My ego mind thinks, poor me, I am a victim. My self feels I create my own reality to learn and grow. My ego mind says, think, think, think. My self wants me to feel, feel, feel. My ego mind thinks, I need to know right now. My self feels, surrender to what is with emotional detachment. My ego mind thinks, I'll never have enough. My self feels, by creating a heaven within my own consciousness, I'll be able to see through the veil of illusion created by the earth plane. And thus I'll be able to recognize the heaven that is within me. There endeth my reflection for today.